Top five.
Yeah, girl. You ready to do this? You ready to count this thing down? We're doing the top five, her. Yeah, let's set it off with 1, 2, 3, 4.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Ranked Top 5 List of Stuff That Don't Matter. I'm your host, Tuong La, and I'm here with a bunch of Canadians, eh?
Oh, hello. Sorry.
Oh, hey.
A bunch of hosers. And
Drinking my Timmies, eh?
But
what am I thinking? Chesterfield. Bunch of Chesterfield. We're sitting on our Chesterfields today. That's a sofa, right? A couch?
I think so. Although
Totally.
I've never actually heard anyone refer to it as that. It's like a Canadian thing, and I'm like, I've never. Okay, maybe at like stores, maybe, but
That's
no
true.
one actually like.
Tongue only
Anyway.
knows very specific furniture Canadian references.
Well, I was thinking about that Is it Budweiser commercial? No.
Canadian.
Canadian.
Like a-
Canadian.
oh,
No,
Canadian.
I am Canadian. Of course, Canadian.
Yeah.
I am Canadian commercial. So I'm pretty sure they said Chesterfield. I am stalling. I
Oh.
shouldn't be stalling. We have like an hour to record this podcast. I'll go right into it with my first hoser. Long time. It's been so long since she's
long.
been in the pod cavern. She used to come literally almost every second week. And then she moved.
I'm up to like a dozen, I think. Yeah.
And it was a great record a while ago. Not anymore. So I'm trying to get it back, although she's very busy with baby, which is why we have very limited time. We're on baby time right now. Catherine Ballachey, everyone.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
I'm
I'm so thrilled to be back. It has been too long.
It's been so long, and anytime I'm like, let's get the gang back together, get the GCTC gang back together, we got to do it.
Yeah, we have a good category. I'm
Very
excited for this one.
Me
yeah.
too. Do you want to introduce our next guest?
Of course. So, if we were in person, I would say like the lady on my left, but in my screen, it's like below and to the left a little. So, yay.
I'm
It's
pushing
been a
up on your
while.
picture.
Oh, yeah, you are. And it's kind of have me and Tongue. It's good. Alli Harris, everybody. Lovely to see you.
You too, Catherine. Guys, I'm so happy to be back.
Alli, I'm
what a
also
treat.
stoked to have you back for so many momentous occasions. 1, just reunion. 2, to talk about Good Burger 2. Oh, I'm on
Oh
air.
my God. Don't get me started. Oh my God.
I don't want to get you started because it would literally take forever. It's like, let's talk about Space Jam and Good Burger 2. Okay, now.
Yeah.
I'm in Babyland. What is Good Booker 2? Just real quick. I have no idea.
Do you know Good Burger 1?
The
No.
first good burger?
It's
Good, no, I haven't. Well, burgers are good. I've heard that, of course. But
Alli, give the 2-sentence pitch of Good Burger 1.
Oh my God. Okay. Keenan and Kel, hamburgers, Nickelodeon, the 90s, trouble. That was more
That's
like
quite a
a
recipe.
poem. Yeah.
That was like a
like a
long
haiku.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was beautiful. I'm inspired.
And
Go
Alli,
watch it.
do you want to introduce the guest who was supposed to be here but is way too busy being a theater star, doing live performances and such?
Well, Axe is so in demand that he's not even here right now. We don't even know where he is. He's so in the industry that like literally he was probably performing like 4 hours ago. That's how fresh
Yeah.
and on he is on the curve, people. It is happening
It's
for
true.
Axe. Happening so much he's not here.
And I've heard from Axe it takes him hours to break out of character. Hours. So he's still in it.
If he comes in character,
That could be interesting.
it happened.
So this is a very interesting episode right off the top because this has literally never happened in the pod cavern and on Ranked. We've been talking about for years, or at least I've been thinking, like, man, what happens if it's just a 3-person show? And I've done everything in my power to make it always a 4-person show. But Axe already rescheduled last week because he's so into character. He couldn't break it for days. And now he's into character again. And we're like, okay, Axe. He's like, I need another hour or so to decompress. Okay. He said a little bit different than that. But
I
he's
think
like,
he was striking.
Yeah, I
honestly.
think he's like cleaning
no, no.
working.
I like to
like
think-
a nice person.
I like to think he's still
Picture
in
him
the
such
play.
a like diva. Like,
He's striking the set and it's his last day, so can't blame
I know,
him. But,
yeah.
we've already rescheduled. Catherine's on baby hours. Like, we just have to do
Minutes.
it.
Gotta happen.
It's just gotta
minutes.
happen.
Yeah.
So, for first time in Pod Cavern history, in about 150 episodes of this show, 3-person podcast, which means we are doing 4 rounds of nominations,
Oof.
which is
Oh my gosh.
nuts. And also, if Axe decides to join us at any point, well, he's welcome to, I guess, right? He could just come in for the arguing part, but he does not get to nominate.
Okay.
That would be interesting. Yeah, he just has to only like a dry argue, just based on nothing.
so dry.
Dry
You know what I
argue.
mean? Like coming
Yeah.
in like you're fresh. Yeah.
yeah. Untainted. Yeah.
Dry argue sounds like really bad foreplay. We're just gonna dry
I didn't even
argue
think
before
of
we
that.
get into it.
Or like a toe cream or something.
Okay, focus,
Dry
everyone.
argue.
We have
Focus,
an
focus.
hour. We have an hour. So we are doing top 5 Canadian shows today. Is that what top 5 Canadian TV shows? That's what we
TV
landed on.
shows. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we have some ground rules to quickly go over. Catherine, you had a pretty good basis of what we should cover in this episode. What do you think?
Well, so I just wanted to, because a lot of Canadian talent in general has to be exported. So a lot of Canadian TV shows, or like if it's predominantly like a Canadian cast or something like that, sometimes it actually is produced by like an American production company. So it's like, does that count as a Canadian show? Or it gets bought out. So one of the ones I'm nominating, it started as Canadian and then it like joined forces with American networks. I think that's okay.
I think that's
But
fine.
I think if it's
Definitely.
like, you could argue for it. If it's like a majority Canadian thing, even in just like, the writers or something, like you could maybe argue for it.
Or
I
like
don't
in
know.
spirit.
In spirit,
Yeah.
yeah.
The spirit of a Canadian.
Very polite show.
yeah. Fair. That counts too.
Yeah, I think we're going to
So
play
polite.
it loose and fast in this episode. And
Yeah.
I think most of our episodes won't toe the line too much. Because, like, for me, like, I saw a bunch of shows that's like, it's joint Canadian and American. And I was like, there's so many good just Canadian shows that I'll just lean that way. But if you guys nominate something like that, like, fuck it. Let's go, like, whatever, right? Alli, is there anything that you want to point out for ground rules?
No, I feel like you guys covered it. You must have one Canadian town reference in it, right? I hope that they at least all have one. Maybe that's about. I just kind of said that on the spot. I mean,
There's there's a Canadian show that technically it is as Canadian as you can be, but technically it takes place in America. But it's like CBC, all Canadian cast, all Canadian created, and it like kind of has to be on the list, but technically they are in America.
I think that's fine.
Interesting. Yeah, that's okay.
I think that's fine.
I'm cool with that.
I'm cool with that too. Should we just get into it then?
Let's
Yeah.
do it.
All right, just like every episode of Ranked, we're going to sit in our Chesterfields and go around the table. Oh, wait, I guess it's not like every episode of Ranked. We're going to go around 4 times, nominating 4 nominations each. This is really weird for me to say. It's so ingrained in my memory how to do this next part of the show that I'm like, 4 times, 4 rounds? What is happening? And I guess still make a master list of 12 and whittling that down to a top 5 Canadian TV shows list. Let's just get right into it. I think the TV show that comes to mind for everyone, at least for me anyways, but when I was like polling, especially like Laura and stuff like that, the one that's like, hey, name a Canadian TV show. You think about the one that has the most clout, the one that has the most awards recently. I think it would be hard. It's like the Garfield of the Cats episode. It's like, this is the most obvious right off the top, Schitt's Creek.
Yes.
Yeah, so this is the one that I was just referring to. So I'm actually thinking they technically don't specify.
I
They
thought they
talk
were in a
about-
Canadian city. I wasn't
Is it
paying attention
Canadian?
then.
Well, the thing is, they're from New York. And I
Yes.
think they don't really specify necessarily if it's in
Where
America.
it is,
I
yeah.
always assumed it actually was America because they like were talking about being American and like living in New York and stuff.
Yeah.
But
It's
it's
possible, but like it's also like it is made by Canadians. And,
Oh, no. Yeah. No. Yeah,
was it
you
a
have to. It's
CBC Gem? No, was it a CBC show or what was it?
Oh,
I
yeah,
think
CBC.
it started on CBC and then it got like put into
Netflix.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Which
Schitt's Creek.
Netflix has snapped up a few Canadian shows. They're doing all
yeah.
of that. But Schitt's Creek, it's won like, I don't know, 18 Emmys. Like it's
That's wild. That's
yeah,
unheard of in Canada.
I don't know if that's actually, I'm exaggerating, but like they did, it was last year or the year before, they like destroyed the Emmys, like the entire Levy family. and like of course.
that's right. Yeah,
they're like Canadian royalty. Like
they are.
Eugene,
and now all their careers have like blossomed.
So much better.
Annie Murphy, who plays the daughter. I
She's
forget
from Ottawa.
Is she really? Oh wow!
Yeah.
There's a chance for all of us.
Well, yeah.
We'll see. At least there's a chance for Axe. He's going to be the next. He's going to be the next Schitt's Creek.
He's chasing it right now.
Made by Eugene and Dan Levy. So Eugene Levy and his son. And I mean, what's to say about this show that hasn't already been said? I mean, it is so wholesome. It is a feel-good show. It is a super funny sitcom about, rich, white, privileged family who moves into a shitty town and they're trying to get out. But as the seasons go, they learn to love it a little bit more and more. And hilarity ensues. Is that a good summation of the show?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Catherine O'Hara, at her...
prime. In her prime.
She's had multiple primes, though. I feel like she's always in her prime.
It's true.
It's true.
Constantly.
But I think in this show, it's extra in her prime.
She's really,
because her character is she is an actor. So she just really gets to ham it up.
And that wine commercial she's doing where she's getting increasingly drunk and she's trying to I forget what the name of the winery is, but she's like, that's their head.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, she did.
I love it. I love it so much.
So good.
We should just go right into Catherine's nomination.
Okay. I'm glad that one was just kind of set aside, we all agree. I feel like when we did the top 5 fictional dogs, that was Wishbone. We were all just we agree on Wishbone, move on. Yeah. Fantastic. Okay, so this one, I want to read some of the Wikipedia because this might be slightly generational, although it was a TV show that was rebooted later on. But this is actually a TV show, or kind of a collection of TV shows and movies, and it's turned into a whole franchise it's been going for about 30 years. And it actually originally started as a series of short films in 1979. So it goes back even farther. But it was in 87 it actually launched on the CBC as the first kind of iteration, and then there was another one and it comes on. I always watched this show in health class. They always showed an episode or two in health class. Maybe this is generational, but I'm talking about Degrassi. So Degrassi Junior High. Okay. Degrassi High.
That's my number one.
The next generation. Okay, excellent. But I was figuring, because sometimes it was huge. I was I'm born in 87. So I was it was actually in syndication as I was growing up. So I watched a lot of it all the time. And then it went away for a little bit. And you know who picked it up and actually rebooted it? Because apparently he fell in love with it in the US growing up, is Kevin Smith. He's the reason for
really?
that they did the reboot in 2003 or 4 or something. And he actually makes a few appearances in it, which is kind of funny. But it's huge. It's launched a very important Canadian rapper's career. I'm talking about Drake. It launched Drake's career, and apparently the Vampire Diaries girl. I don't know her, but the Vampire Diaries. Yes, something. Yeah. And it actually, I was reading all about it, and it's and it's been going for 30 years. And it has lots of awards.
Is it still going?
It's
so
there
they
was supposed
tried
to be. I don't
but
think
it was
went.
canceled.
Yeah.
So it was supposed to be picked up by HBO Max in last year, but then they canceled it.
Mm-hmm.
But just a quick little on Wikipedia. Degrassi has been critically acclaimed and has encountered controversy over on multiple occasions for episodes depicting teenage pregnancy, abortion, LGBT issues. And in the 80s and 90s, that's freaking huge,
Yes,
episodes of multiple incarnations being altered or withheld or pulled by networks around the world. I don't know. I always thought it was kind of cool. And it was kind of ahead of its time. And, it actually, one thing is interesting thing about it, it was the first iteration of the word fuck on Canadian television was Degrassi.
One of their,
yes! Fuck yeah!
Was it Drake? Yeah, she's been fuck what?
After he got shot, he was fuck.
Yeah, there you go. Is that why he was in a wheelchair? I forget. It must have been. Yeah.
Is that the What You Say song, from Degrassi?
That's from the OC.
OC, damn it. Okay. But that's from another show that someone got shot, and I think okay.
Oh yeah,
yes.
Okay.
Anyways, I'm passionate about that one, but yes, I'm glad you agree to, Alli, because I was worried it was generational, but
not at all.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
I watched it when I was from like 7 to like 9, I watched the 80s one because he used to play on CTV. So I was way too young.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like watching it. And then I've watched like the Next Generation, like till the end of it, basically. And then I caught like, I don't know what the First Class it's called or something, the newest one.
Yeah, that like it didn't last very long, unfortunately.
Not good, terribly written. But like next gen for me, I was like, there was like decent actors that came through there. There was like some good storylines. I like I'm a Degrassi head. I know all the
okay, perfect.
Is that what you guys call each other? Degrassi heads?
There's got to be something better.
Degrassi dummies. Degrassi.
Yeah. Degrassi dudes.
Degrassers.
Alli, what do you have as your first nomination?
Well, Degrassi was my first nomination.
I stole it, yeah.
That's all right. That's okay. I've got many. My nomination. So it's not like doesn't have a plot line, but I think it's like something that's really taken off in the last maybe like 5 to 10 years. It's The Dragon's Den. I started watching in the pandemic, and I like watched from season 1 to like the current season. And it's something that I love about the show is like, so do you guys know, have you watched it?
I've seen a few
I've never
episodes.
watched it, but I know the premise. If they pitch products or something, right?
That's it. So they pitch products for like funding, and then there's like 5 investors who can like give them money basically and like help get them from like point A to point B. And there's like so many, this is very Canadian, because the best thing about going to the supermarket is seeing like what's here from Dragon's Den, you know what I mean? And they've like taken so many products and like launched them, and like all the the investors have such great personalities, and like Arlene has been there from the beginning. You always want to get Arlene, but then like often the guy who Boston Pizza guy, he's great, you know, like you love the personalities. It's very homegrown. I feel I'm not 100% sure if it was like the first of its kind. I think Dragon's Den came from like a UK version and then it came here. I do know that Shark Tank happened after Dragon's Den. So Shark Tank was like
that's the American version, right?
Yeah.
Cool. Same premise, right? Like
yeah, exactly.
What's Alli, I know I'm just dragging this a bit, but what's your favorite Dragon's Den product?
My favorite Dragon's Den product? Oh my god.
You can just give me one of several, because I know that you have a ton.
Yes. Well, Partake, which is like the non-alcoholic beer. I see that everywhere. That was one that was launched there. There's so many. There's a lot of just like little drinks. Like there's like great hibiscus drinks that they have there.
There was this line of like baby eating stuff, like this really nice like silicone like baby eating tools that it was launched on Dragon's Den. I actually did see that. And it is all over the like baby world, you know?
Oh, okay. Yeah. I was going to say, like, wasn't one of like the 100 mattresses that are out in the world right now?
Endy.
Okay.
I think.
Probably that one. That makes sense. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. If you think of any more creative ones, Alli, I'd be interested to hear, because I'm like, what are they funding over there? What are they actually
totally. You should be, you know, investigating, because I feel like some of them, apparently some get like chosen on the show and then they don't go forward.
Oh, so like it's a fake out.
Sometimes, you know what I mean? Yeah. It can be shady business happens. Yeah.
Or they like pull out. Ones. They're like, no. Yeah. The ones that they're like, no, but
that's pretty
coming.
fucked up. Yeah. You do not need a diaper with spikes on it on the inside.
Oh god.
Jeez.
That makes sense.
Let's go into round 2. We're just going through it. You know what? I was going to save this as my wild card nomination for later, but I'm staring at it right now. And you know what? I have 4 nominations now. I feel like I have so much more power than I used to have. So maybe we do 3-person episodes from now on.
Oh, wow.
No, well, if it's this crew, yes. My next nomination is a game show that we've talked about on this podcast more than one time.
Oh,
somehow.
I know what this is.
Do you know it's no longer on the air?
No.
Okay, I feel like Alli would know what this is, actually. One of the characters on the show is, let's say, dressed in BDSM gear, who, when you're in trouble, this guy will spill goop on a bunch of kids. Sounds terrible the way I'm wording it. I'm talking about everyone.
What a way to describe it.
Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong.
That is literally too accurate.
Yeah. And does he say terrible puns as he's doing it? Yes. He'll be like, I'll put some goo on you as he's pouring it on a bunch of kids. And you're like, ooh, Punisher, control yourself.
Yeah. That's what Wink Yahoo used to say. He'd say, Punisher, control.
We've talked about so many times on this podcast, surprisingly, and you can go back on like top 5 game shows or whatever it is, but I loved the show growing up. It is so fun. It's for kids. Wink Yahoo is, to me, one of the best hosts, at least in my memory. I don't know what he's up to these days.
He's funny.
He just seems like he's like a Jim Carrey energy. He's just so excitable all the time, and the stuff that you do in I don't know. I always wanted to be on that game show all the time. Like,
me too.
I don't remember what you do. You just do some obstacles, and then sometimes you get goop on yourself.
That sounds very like Nickelodeon had a show like that too, right? They all got gooped. It was like a thing in the 90s, dumping goo on each other or on people.
Yes.
It really was a 90s thing.
Yeah.
Bring back the goo is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Or bring back Punisher. What is he doing these days? I don't know if I want to know.
It's a great question. Yeah, maybe no. You probably don't.
He's probably in jail, but everyone loves him.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's my second nomination. Catherine, what do you have?
Okay. Yeah, you're right. This kind of changes things.
Doesn't it? It's weird.
Like having 4. You know what? Okay, so I'm going to bring up a category because I think in Canadian TV, like it's something that Canadians are known for. I'd like to bring up sketch comedy, just kind of like as in, like, you know what I mean? Like there's a lot of strong Canadian sketch comedy out there, and I feel strongly that one should be included on the list, but there's like a lot to choose from. So I'm going to pitch my personal favorite, and that's Kids in the Hall.
Yeah.
Now, it also just got rebooted, although I'm a tired mom. I've only gotten through half the episodes. I kept like falling asleep, but that's nothing to do with the comedy. It's fantastic. And it went for a while too. Like it was like I forget the exact dates. I can pull up the dates. I have all the Wikipedias open just in case. But the 5 fantastic comedians, Dave Foley, Bruce McCulloch, Kevin McDonald, Mark McKinney, and Scott Thompson. I've seen Scott Thompson live too. Like he's amazing. And they made like a weird movie called Brain Candy in like the 90s. That was very strange. But yeah, they formed as like a sketch comedy troupe in 84, and they actually launched this series in 89. It went from 89 to 95. And it's very like, I saw an argument online. They were like, is it boomer humor or Gen X humor? You know what I mean? Because my cousins who are like the epitome of Gen Xers, they're in their mid 40s now. Like when I think of Gen Xers, I think of them. Like we're obsessed with Kids in the Hall. They like all watch Kids in the Hall. It was like their thing. So it was like big in the like early 90s, you know? Like when you're like Canadian comedy, when you think of that, like in the early 90s, like it's Kids in the Hall for me at least. Like it's so funny. It's good stuff. But I think like we each could like nominate a sketch comedy.
Totally.
And, like, it'd be a debate.
I feel like Kids in the Hall, I'm not going to say they originated sketch comedy, but to me, they are one of the ones that I think about, certainly.
They're like the grandpas of sketch comedy.
They remind me of, like, when you think of improv, everyone thinks of the Whose Line Is It Anyways, right?
Yeah.
When I
Yes,
think
of
of
course.
sketch comedy, it's Kids in the Hall right away.
Yes, okay, yes.
Even though,
Yeah.
again, there's like a ton of sketch comedy out there, right? Like, right now,
Yeah,
everyone would go
exactly.
to, like, I Think You Should Leave, but that's not Canadian. So, like...
I love that show, yes. But yes,
me too.
That's another thing. It's very like surreal humor, much like I Think You Should Leave, that like some of it is like really weird. They're like, I'm squishing your head, like all those kind of things. Like it's very like odd sometimes, but I love that kind of humor. So
Good pick. Alli, what do you have as your second nom?
My second nom, it goes back a little bit. I don't know how many people knew this show, but I just feel like it was really influential in the early 2000s and the 90s, and it deserves to be on the list. This is the show I watched as like a preteen and like junior teenager called Street Sense. Did you guys watch it?
Yes.
I did not.
Yeah.
I did not. I didn't even hear about it.
I just had like a core memory unlocked. Like, yes, why didn't I think of that? Of course.
Tell me about it, Alli.
Okay, so it was like basically these like it was hosted by like young people, so like in their like 20s, and they did like product testing on like
Yes.
different.
So smart. Yeah.
I know it was like aimed for kids. So it's specifically for kids, but it's like they tested all these different products to like find the one that was most like economical for you. They like answered questions that kids would write in. They would go on like rants about like, I don't even know if it was like products, politics, like, you know, the idea of like, I don't know, people taking advantage of you and like of your money or like financial things is like the first like introduction to being like financially kind of literate and like just like in the know of like, I don't know, consumerism, capitalism, but they made it cool, you know?
One example I remember that sticks out vividly is this woman painted her fingernails with each like a different kind of like long lasting nail polish. And then she climbed like a cliff. Like she went, and then they like to see like what nail polish was left. You know what I mean? Like she went like rock climbing, and then she was like, "All right, so this one actually like it's more expensive, but it chipped off." You know? And,
yeah.
It was
that's amazing. Only Street Sense would do that. Yeah. And the really cool thing about the show is they didn't have commercials because they didn't want the advertisements to like be, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, they
to like influence things.
Yeah, exactly.
You want it to be impartial. That's cool.
They had the street sense about it. I got
respect,
you.
exactly.
Love it.
Yeah.
I'm very sad I missed this show. It feels like it's right up my alley.
You would love it. It's a good show.
How long
Apparently
did it
it's on till 2006, I think it was.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. It's on TikTok is what you're saying?
It's so they started it again on TikTok. So if you follow like Street Sense on TikTok,
Cool.
Whoa,
I know. So they're just doing
wild.
like stuff nowadays. They'll do things like can I live in an apartment? Can I spend this much in a day like in Toronto? You know what I mean? Like it's like specific things like that. Yeah. So it's more like, I don't know, like our current generation, you know what I mean? Like set in today, but it's I follow it. It's really cool.
You just brought up something that I never even considered. The idea that something that was beloved back in like the 90s and early 2000s is just doing it on TikTok now. Like that's their platform. That's like
literally
interesting.
Yeah. That is
it's cool.
Wow.
It's so cool. Yeah.
Okay, we're going to the third round of nominations, not our last, but the third round. And Axe is still not here, so we're doing some Axe watch right now. Is he in the call? Axe, talk to us. No. Okay.
Axe check. Yeah.
So my third nomination here, there's a few. I feel there's one that like Laura and a good friend of the show really wanted me to nominate, but I don't have enough knowledge. So I'll save it for honorable mentions. Maybe you two will have much more stronger feelings about it. It's really well beloved, but I've never seen it. So I'm going to go with something that I saw all the time as a young boy growing up, and I thought it was the coolest fucking show ever. It taught me about family. It taught me about what a megabyte was. It taught me about the web. It taught me about incoming games. I'm talking about Reboot.
Yeah, I was talking about it with my husband. He was like, I would be mad if this is not mentioned, like genuinely.
Yeah.
Enzo, the kid, had the biggest glow up in like TV history, going from that character, that little whiny little kid, into Matrix, where he has like this cool fucking golden eye and he's like super jacked. Like, come on. And they made a character named Bob really cool. You know, that's impossible. And
it's true.
We all wanted a glitch in our life, I think. And yeah, I mean, I was a little scared of the show growing up, to be honest with you. Like a megabyte, and when he turns into a gigabyte, you're like, oh shit, like what is happening? He's like scary looking, you know. I mean, the animation in it is very scary as a kid, I think sometimes. You like, what is that red character called with like the... Do you know what I'm talking about? She's dressed in red. She's like Megabyte's like girlfriend or whatever like that.
I don't remember it.
Anyway, she was scary.
That's Googleable. We'll Google that later.
We'll talk about it. Anyways, I love this show. And like, I love the idea that like video games, like that's how you scare kids away from video games. Like if you lose a video game, you're stuck in it and you're dead.
Oh God.
Yeah, it's a great lesson to have. So don't lose is the real lesson. Yeah, Reboot. Did you two watch this growing up?
I have watched some. Yes, my brother watched it a lot. Yeah,
I was gonna say that was something that my brother would watch, and I would have just finished my show, so maybe I'd stick around for a little bit. But I knew about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they actually tried bringing it back. I think like a few years ago, and it had the worst. Like, it was just like, this isn't Reboot. What are you doing here? And it was like, the idea was basically Power Rangers. They had like,
What?
no, seriously, it was like 5 kids in high school or whatever like that who are just hanging out in a regular modern day high school when they discover something about like a computer, and they get sucked into the computer, and they all like they all have suits like Power Rangers, but it's called Reboot, and you see Megabyte, I think, one time or so. I never saw it. It looked terrible.
No.
It looked terrible. I'll link
Yeah.
that trailer in the website. 'cause
Yeah,
it is
yeah.
mind-boggling to be like, that's not Reboot. I don't know.
It's just the same name.
Yeah.
essentially.
Yeah. Basically.
Catherine.
Okay, so I'd also like to mention another category. So I was kind of thinking of like Canadian, like the strengths of Canadian TV. And when I think of Canadian TV in general, I think of sketch comedy. And I also think, maybe it's just because I'm biased growing up Canadian, but I think our children's programming is also quite strong.
Yeah.
I remember I have fond memory of CBC, like watching CBC growing up. And I don't want to name them all because they might be like other nominations, but so this one, though, is a bit of a twist because it's more modern children's programming. But if you have spoken to a child in the past decade, this show would eventually come up. Like, Tuong, you have nephews. I'm sure that they were like at some point into the show. My niece and nephews were like obsessed. We went to go see the movie together. I'm talking about 5 sweet little rescue pups in Adventure Bay. I'm talking Paw Patrol.
Oh,
It is
Canadian?
a phenomenon. Yes, man. It was premiered by TVO Kids. Yeah, TVO. Man.
Nice. Wow.
Mhm. And it's
Good for
like a
them.
phenomenon. Like, it's everywhere.
Yeah.
Like, you go into a toy store, like anywhere, even in the States or anything, you get like your Chase. Chase is on the case, and
Friggin'
like
Chase.
Marshall, and like
Friggin' shit.
yeah. And I kind of like, I've watched a lot of it because like being able to have conversations with my niece for a while, like I had to watch some, you know what I mean? Like, she loved Paw Patrol. My thing was Everest was always my favorite. So if Everest ever came on, because she's the husky, right? And I have a husky. So anytime she'd come on, they'd be like, Auntie, you have to come watch Everest. Yeah, Everest. Yeah, it's just like quite a phenomenon. It's like one of the more like successful Canadian shows of the past decade, I would think, other than Schitt's Creek. Yeah.
It's quite genius. And like, I think everyone in our adult age shit on this kids' TV show a lot because it was just around everywhere. And it still is. Like, you go into a store,
Yeah.
it's everywhere. But if you ever watch the show, like, it is definitely, I've seen a lot of kids' television having, nephews and a niece. And like, it's just, there is levels of kids TV show that is completely unbearable, and Paw Patrol at least is kind of bearable. So I think that's already, because like, have you ever seen Coco Melon? Like, that show is the worst. Don't watch Coco Melon. It's so bad. Anyways, don't get me started. But Paw Patrol, at least it's like, oh, cool. It's a bunch of dogs, which I already love. I'm already on board for this.
Exactly.
But they all have like very mundane powers. Like, but like, it works in the moment. It's like, hey, we need someone who can dig. This guy.
I've got a digger. Yeah. It's this town who has outsourced all of its emergency services to pups. Like, why not? Right? Smart. Like,
That's so
your police
funny.
force is Chase. Like, your fire department is Marshall. Like,
Yeah, it's quite something. Alli, did
love
you ever
it.
watch Paw Patrol? Did you ever?
No, I've never seen it.
Yeah, I don't think you
weird.
need to.
But you've heard of it. Like, it's been there, like, you've seen it around. I'm sure.
I've seen it. Yeah.
Yeah. Alli, what do you have as your third nomination?
Okay. Is it third? Yes.
Yeah, but
okay.
we're doing a
Yes.
fourth.
That's right. That's right.
I
Okay.
haven't decided on my fourth yet.
Neither have
I don't
I.
know.
Okay. Okay. This one is a bit niche. So if no one knows what this is, it's okay. So this was a very, very specific kind of show. It was a Canadian soap opera that ran for 2 years on global TV. And the entire thing took place on a GO train. And it's called Train 48.
Really?
Yes.
I've never heard of this.
I think I've heard of this before. Yeah, that's fine.
If you
That's
if you
interesting.
if you get the chance, I don't know about interesting. Canadian extremely. If you get the chance, go and like watch the trailer. But basically, it was like this. So like, it's a soap opera. So it was every day. They did it like regular soap operas. So they'd like memorize, but not really. They'd improvise, and it was just like on this GO train cart. And so apparently, I was reading up on it, and apparently it was like only $30,000 to shoot an episode, which like usually usually it should be like 300,000 or something like that. You know what I mean? So like very cost efficient. They had a lot of like really big actors. They had like Appa from Kim's Convenience was on it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, like so just like a lot of like if you saw their faces, you were like, that's a Canadian actor, you know what I mean? Like they do all those like random roles kind of thing. Like drama happened, you know, there was some gay kisses in the early 2000s, which was cool.
Woo!
There was like a robbery. There, you know what I mean? Everything happened on this GO train and and like just like very strong like caricatures of Canadians. You know, you had like this guy who had like a giant mustache. He was like drinking a beer and like, you know, just so cheesy, so cheesy.
Do you know if they filmed it on the GO train or did they film
Yes,
it? Like they did.
it was like I'm pretty sure it was a GO train. Like because if you see, yeah,
would they film it like as the GO train is? So you might be accidentally like in the background of, you know what I mean?
no,
If you're on
like
a GO
I think
train,
it was like a cart or whatever. You know what I mean? Like a stopped one. Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
okay.
That is hilarious.
That would be funny.
I know that would be
GO
wild.
train 48, yeah. How long did this show run for, Alli?
2 years.
And you loved it and you're nominating it.
When I say I loved it, it was infamous. It's so infamous. It's to a T. You want
Yeah.
if you want to
I
laugh,
gotta Google
watch
it.
it. Yeah.
That's what this podcast is all about, to share with our American listeners what we got going on in Canada, the quality.
Yeah,
Exactly.
We have quality TV. We do. Yeah.
A lot of us like nominating kids' TV shows and shows that we like liked in the 90s or 80s.
It's Canada. There's not much to pick from.
I know.
No, we have some good stuff.
We have some good stuff. Yeah.
That's true.
The last round of nominations, onto our our very first fourth round of nominations. First of all, let's do an Axe check here. Axe Watch. Axe Watch, still not here. Any second though. I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it.
I totally think he's gonna come for sure.
He's going to come. Catherine, what do you think? Are we taking bets here?
He said it was going to be about an hour, eh? It's been 45 minutes, so he might, like, when we're arguing, he might slide right in there and
Slide
like,
into our
he'll have to
DM,
catch
slide
up
right
real
into our-
quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Axe, here's our nominations. There's no time for you to
Go.
say anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, for my last nomination here, it's an interesting one because I feel like it has to be nominated, but I didn't watch too much of it until pretty late in its run. And it had, I think, like 12 or 14 seasons, multiple movies. It was almost a cult following. A lot of people
I think I know
growing
what you-
up
Yeah, me
just
too.
loved it. And I just didn't know if it was for me. But I discovered it later and I was like, yeah, I see the appeal. I do like some of it. I do. Actually, a lot of the characters are very funny. And they did a lot of tours. And I'm stalling now because that show is Trailer Park Boys.
Yeah.
Yes. I went through a phase of like loving Trailer Park Boys. I saw them live.
Yeah,
I saw Ricky
Whoa.
and Bubbles and Ricky Bubbles and the third. I can't remember. Oh no! But yeah, it had a good run there in like the mid 2000s. Like it was quite popular, and it got even popular in the States and stuff like that. Yeah.
You're thinking of Julian. That's what you're thinking about, right?
Julian,
He's always
Ricky
holding
and
his drink.
Julian and
Yeah.
Bubbles. Yeah, he's
Yes.
always holding the rum and coke.
Yeah.
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 Thank you, Julian.
This is what I liked about the show. It was very Canadian, about like just the misadventures of just Trailer Park. I'm going to say trash, but I mean it very lovingly. Like they're big characters. And it was, Nova Scotia, I'm pretty sure it was taking place.
Dartmouth,
yeah.
Nova Scotia. Yeah, and it was like filmed there and everything. Oh, yeah.
And I loved how these guys always went on tour to see like the regular folk who loved the show, right? They would show up at Algonquin College in Ottawa. Like that's pretty cool, right?
That is cool.
And yeah, this show went on for a very long time with multiple movies. And I think it deserves a shout out because like the people who watched the show were like, they loved the show. And
Yeah.
You know whose career it launched is Elliot Page's career. He's everywhere. Yeah.
really?
He
I
started
didn't know he was in it.
Yeah, he was Ricky's daughter. Like
Oh,
yeah.
I did not know that either.
that's
Yeah.
wild. Oh my god.
Go back and watch it.
Elliot
Yeah.
Page, Canadian?
Yeah.
Did I,
Yeah.
I did not know that.
See? There you go.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I really enjoyed the seasons that I watched. And it was one of those things that, like, I was doing somewhat of a rewatch with someone who watched it a lot, let's just say, like, a lot. It was like one of those shows that, like, people quote, like, The Office for a very long time.
Yeah.
But you can't,
totally.
you can't watch a show that's like 12 seasons because it's a commitment, A.
That's
and
a
then
lot,
B,
yeah.
if you're watching it beside someone who just knows the show front and back, it's very
They're like,
exhausting.
yeah.
Yeah,
Isn't
I'm
it
sure.
fun? Yeah.
They're looking at you for affirmation that they like sucked you into a fun thing, and you're like,
Yeah.
I think I would have liked this if I watched this alone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still
It's a lot
very
of pressure.
I still had a lot
Yeah.
of fun. Still had a lot of fun. Catherine, what do you have as your final nomination?
Oh, this is going to be another one that I'm going to nominate because it has had a lot of recent success. Fun fact, it started from a play, of course, and so you got to encourage that. But I've only seen like 4 or 5 episodes of it. No, maybe more. But it's Kim's Convenience. Like, you have to mention Kim's Convenience, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Totally.
Like, I mean, it also has launched like a huge career of Simu Liu, like, and he's freaking everywhere. And
And Andrew Fung too. Like, yeah.
oh yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, unfortunately, on Appa, and
Yes.
like, of course, he's on Star Wars now. Like, that's super cool.
Yeah.
He's going to be in the
Mandalorian?
new Avatar,
No.
The Last Airbender. Like, he's going to play, like, the grandfather in that.
Oh.
Yeah, like the live
Whoa,
action. So that's really
cool.
cool. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, like it's. I think it's one worth nominating. I've only seen 5 or 6 episodes, but what I saw was super funny.
I've seen all of it.
And
So
you have. Okay, there you go.
It was actually, it's interesting because I was going back and forth because I was like, I feel like my heart wants to say Kim's Convenience. I'm glad you said it, but I ended up saying Trailer Park Boys because I feel like it's far more reaching to what Canadian
Yes.
TV is, because Kim's Convenience, like, I really liked that show, but it was very rushed towards the end because they found out very late in the game that they wouldn't have another season to close it out because
Oh, I hate when that happens.
but
Yeah,
they were
sad.
given the
Yeah.
go ahead. It's a whole drama, and Simu Liu was
Yeah,
like talking about
yeah.
it like pretty publicly, but he couldn't reveal everything. But basically, what happened, here's the tea, was that they had the go ahead to make another season. Like, everyone was down except for the, I think, showrunner or like the co-creator of it or something like that. And he wasn't down. And if he wasn't down, none of it would happen. So it just didn't, because he chose not to make it happen. So everyone was pretty.
He was just done. Yeah,
He was done,
Yeah.
and everyone was
Yeah.
like, but you have all these characters with all these storylines. Don't you want to wrap that up? And he's like, nah. So you can tell in the very last season that is aired that they found out within probably the last 2 episodes, because a lot of stuff that's taken 4 seasons to build up to, they're like, finish it now.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Oh, damn. That's a shame.
Otherwise, I had a really good time with the show because it also takes place in Toronto as well. So I think that's
That's so cool.
pretty Canadian. And you can go to the actual Kim's Convenience store in Toronto, I'm pretty sure, and like buy stuff, and it's all like, that's a real
really?
place. Yeah.
I love
cool.
it.
Yeah.
That's so neat.
All right, Alli, the final nomination. What do you got?
Okay. Well, I was going back and forth between a couple things, but I think I'm going to go with this show because it's another sketch comedy. And Catherine, you reminded me there's so many influential, amazing, cool sketch comedies in Canada that came from Canada. And so I'm going to go with the Baroness von Sketch
Yeah.
Show.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm glad you're saying it. Okay, 'cause it's on my. It's the one that I was like, oh, I really want to nominate it, but
Totally.
again,
Yeah.
it's I know what it is. It has, because when Netflix picked it up, it did cross over into the States, so it has had some like recent success. And that woman who was on Orange Is the New Black was like apparently she was like the big one, but she like saw the show and like made sure like Netflix bought it and like kind of
No
like got
way.
it popular, and like she appeared on it
cool.
a few times. Oh yeah. No, but I love it. And it's like the topics that they cover and everything. But
That's
yes,
it.
yes.
It's so well written, and it being all women, and I just think their comedic voice is hilarious and unique, and not like anything else.
Is
you-
this still
you really
going?
see.
Because it was huge when it came out.
No, they had a final season like last year. They did like
Yeah.
one post-pandemic season, and then they were like, "That's it."
Yeah.
Now, I don't want to make this
so
all
funny.
female nomination about me, but I will for a second. But I just happened to have done online improv years ago with Aurora Brown, who's in Baroness von
my
Sketch
gosh.
Show.
That's so
and
cool.
I made her laugh once. or twice.
Whoa!
I don't remember. I think I was in a scene with her. It was great. It was fun.
That's so cool.
Back in online
That's
improv
so
and stuff.
cool.
Yeah, no big deal. It was basically like I was on Baroness one sketch show. You know?
No, if you watch any of it, you always see Toronto improvisers. I'm sure, Tuong,
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like all
Yeah.
the like standard guys you see at like Bad Dog and like whatever. So that's really cool too. You're always like looking out,
Oh.
you know?
Yeah.
Do you guys remember Erica Anderson? She was in like Gracie and stuff at GCTC and
Yes, yeah.
a bunch of GCTC stuff. She was on it too. She's on 2 episodes.
Cool.
I was watching it and I was like, oh, Canadian talent.
Yeah, but did
Look
she
at
do
that.
improv with Aurora?
No one can take that away from
No
you,
one can
Tuong.
take that away from me. Exactly.
That's pretty impressive. That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks. I wish it was recorded, but it's not. So, anyways, that is our list of 12. Holy shit. That's pretty good.
Wow.
That's pretty good. First of all, Axe Watch still not here. Catherine, how's Baby Watch doing?
Everything's I don't hear. Let me just like pop a headphone out to make sure I don't hear crying, but I think it's okay. Yeah. They sound peaceful. I think they went for a walk or something, so that buys us
Aw.
time.
Amazing.
Yeah,
All right.
that's
Well,
nice.
let's take a quick break. And when we're back, we're going to rank some top 5 Canadian TV shows. We'll be back.
Hello, folks. I'm Katie,
I'm Vinny.
and we host the Learn Real Good podcast.
It's a comedy podcast about science.
It's also a science podcast with comedy,
Each episode, we interview a science grad student about their research.
and we keep it casual so you don't need to be a nerd to follow along.
We also share some of the latest science news.
I think you mean the latest science news.
Well, people need to hear more about amphibians.
Well, I agree with that. So look us up on your favorite podcast source and
Learn real good. Presented by the Podcavern Network.
Close enough.
Top five, top five, top five.
Hey, everyone. We are back. We're full of our Timmies and full of Toonies.
Poutine.
And poutine.
And maple syrup.
And beaver tails.
That's it. See,
Oh,
where,
yeah.
where were all these Canadian references at the top of the show? We just forgot who we were.
We were just like, Chesterfield.
Show's a thing that we never say ever in public. Oh, man. You know what, though? And I literally, just before I hit record, I was like, Catherine, we're going to make this under 30. We're going to go super quick. But I'll go on a quick tangent here. I was in London for our honeymoon just like last June. And I was like, I don't know if I speak like a Canadian. Like, what does that even mean, right? Like, when people like think, like, try to pick out like Canadian accents from people, I'm like, I don't know. I feel like I sound like a regular person. But they're very sensitive over there to the word A. And it's just something
Yeah,
we don't think
'cause-
about.
Yeah.
They don't say it at all. So
Yeah, and they started making
Yeah.
fun of us, and I'm like, oh, I guess that's something to make fun of me for, but it's also
When-
like, huh.
when I was in Australia, a dude bought me a drink because he said my accent was cute. And I was like, oh, like what
Okay.
a role reversal. Like, wow.
But sir, you are Australian. Like,
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
they
I
have
was
such
like,
a
"Ooh."
stronger accent. I don't know.
Yeah.
But to them, we probably sound crazy. So
I must
Okay.
have said about or something. And he was like,
Yeah.
it's real, you know?
When I was in Australia, I was like, can you do a Canadian accent? And they were like, hello, by name. You know what I mean? It was like very like, I sounded like a robot. And I was like, maybe like Canadians just sound like very square and
Neutral?
like
Yeah.
all other accents are just like fun and like they, you know what I mean? It's like musical, but ours is like very in a box. I don't know.
and it's like America. Now we're just talking about accents, top 5 accents. But
That'd be an interesting one.
That would be
But
interesting.
You'd have,
But would
you'd
it
have
get
to
a
be able
little
to do
racy?
the accent, though.
Towing a line, yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
'Cause
Yeah, maybe not.
I understand that there's different like levels of Canadian accents because people on the East Coast can talk very different than people on the West Coast and people like even on Ontario, that kind of stuff. But like, is the difference between an American accent and like, let's just say like the majority of Canadian accents just the word A or like,
No, man, like American accents they have a wide variety that's a
Yeah.
lot more like defined than ours. Like talking to someone from the South and like compare them to someone
Oh,
from
I
like
guess so.
Boston, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like pack the can and have it yet, like, you know?
or like New York, which has like 5
Yeah.
dialects. Yeah.
coffee, like, I don't know.
yeah.
It's very interesting. Well,
It is.
I don't know how to segue back to Canadian TV shows, but
All
that's
right.
what we're talking about.
But in Canadian TV shows, they often speak with a Canadian accent, and here we are. Great.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
I missed your ability to bring it back. Like we need you as a host on this podcast.
It's because I'm a dramaturg, so I can like I
Yes.
don't know, structure. Like,
I love
anyways,
it. I've been host of this show forever and I still can't do that.
I think think you're doing great, Tom.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you. I needed that. Well, we have our list of 12 over here, and we did 4 rounds of nomination. Axe Watch is still going, but any second now. We took bets on it. We still take bets. He's coming any second. But for now, we're going to be arguing over Schitt's Creek, Degrassi, Dragon's Den, Kids in the Hall, Street Sense, Reboot, Paw Patrol, Train 48, Trailer Park Boys, Kim's Convenience, and Baroness Von Sketch Show. I think that's a pretty solid list.
Yes.
Definitely,
Yeah.
definitely.
Really good.
Proud of it.
Really good stuff.
Proud of it.
How about we do stars for further consideration here? So I'm going to get Catherine. What you're going to do, let's get you to star 2 nominations that isn't one of your own.
Oh, that like I feel strongly about that should be on the list. Well, Street Sense. I fully yes. I forgot about that show. I don't know why, but I agree.
Yeah,
and what
your
was
facial color just lit up. Like you just started to become a new person as your memories flooded. You're like, Street
it
Sense,
came
I love
all
this.
flooding
She
back.
evolved.
I'm post-consumer now. Yes.
Yeah, what other star?
Trailer Park Boys, I would have to say, because it was a phenomenon for a time, for sure.
People still
That's
talk
where
about it.
further yeah, exactly. And they still do the Racky, is that Bubbles?
Well, would you say that today's Trailer Park Boys is now Letterkenny? I've never seen Letterkenny, but people
Oh,
usually
probably. Yeah.
talk about that
yeah.
show like it's Trailer Park Boys, you know?
You're right. Yeah. Do you guys remember Kenneth? Of course. Well, he loved our old boss Kenneth. He loved Letterkenny.
Okay.
And he would quote it to me, and I feel like I've never seen it. Sorry.
You know what? He quoted it to me too, and I'm like, I don't know this show, Kenneth.
Yeah. Right. See. Yeah.
Shout out to Kenneth. It's been a long time. Alli, star 2
Yes.
nominations that isn't one of your own.
I gotta do Degrassi for sure. And Schitt's Creek as well. I feel like those 2 are synonymous.
Oh, well, yeah.
I agree, although I am sad. You know what? The Punisher is in the other room, and he's crying that you did.
Oh no! Oh wait! Oh no!
Punisher. I don't know what pun he would say as he's crying. We can think about that a little bit.
Yeah.
Something to do with goo. And for myself, I'm going to star Kids in the Hall.
Yeah. Sweet.
I think it'd be cool to have a sketch show, even though Baroness Von Sketch would also be cool too. But I like the idea of talking about Dragon's Den, even though I don't watch a lot of it. It is cool to have shows that aren't just sitcoms and, that type of format. So we have Schitt's Creek, Trailer Park Boys, Degrassi, Kids in the Hall, Dragon's Den, and Street Sense. I'm going to say the other ones that aren't starred, and you guys can let me know if it tickles you a little bit, and then we should talk about it just for a sec. So, Reboot.
That tickles me.
Tickles you. Okay. Punisher. Oh, he's happy. Okay, Punisher. Control. Okay. The 5 people in Alli understand this reference. And I'm going to keep referencing it.
The real ones know.
The real ones do know. Okay, so Reboot. That tickles me a little bit, but there's so many other shows out there, I guess. Paw Patrol.
Yeah.
Does it tickle you, Catherine?
The thing is, it's a huge, I'm not a 10-year-old boy, so
You're not?
I feel like this show.
Newsflash.
I feel like the show's for younger people than 10-year-olds, right?
It's more like my niece, when she was peak obsessed with it, she was 3-4. Yeah,
Okay.
You're right.
Okay.
And my nephew, who's 5, still watches it here and there for sure. He loves the Christmas special. He has to watch the Christmas special in September.
That's cute.
I'd be curious of the age range when kids go Paw Patrol, ew, even though they watch it all day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? My nephew just recently hit that with Frozen. He loved Frozen when he was a younger kid. And then recently, in the last 2 years, he's like, ew, Frozen. I'm like, you literally love that movie. What's
out of it?
Sad. It's sad. It is sad. Anyways, Paw Patrol, I don't think it's going to make it because we're not...
Okay, fine.
A, we're not 10-year-old boys, and we're especially not
just wanted-
4-year-old boys.
Yeah, that's true. And but I just want to acknowledge it because it is quite a phenomenon.
Yes.
Totally.
And a lot of people are like, wait, that's Canadian? Because, it was the one that it actually is with Nickelodeon too. Nickelodeon bought it and they do it together now. So technically, yeah.
Right. What about Kim's Convenience? Now, I really like Kim's Convenience, and I think it's great that we recognized it. But honestly, if we're going to have a sitcom on this, it's Schitt's Creek for me. It's just like they're very comparable, but then like Kim's Convenience not having its like perfect ending that they wanted and that kind of stuff. As much as I love the show and I love Simu Liu, I've been on record talking about this and those actors that are in it. Like I just can't. There's just other things that I feel like we could award. Yeah. Right.
Sure.
I agree. Yeah.
What about now, Alli? You're gonna have to put Train 48 to bed, or does it get to hop on another GO train and for another season? What are you thinking?
Is it heading to Burlington? No, I just had to recognize it, but I understand that we might have to leave it at the station.
I'm curious. I'm going to Google it later and like I'm going to see if there's this sounds interesting, but I've never heard of it.
Bad.
And last one, but not least, Baroness von Sketch Show, which I think is a really interesting one here because I could see a case for it being on here. Not that I actually never watched a full episode of Baroness von Sketch, but
I've seen it all.
In its prime for me, it was literally on like sketches were just on Facebook and like on Instagram and like Twitter. Yeah. So I would watch full sketches that way.
They were very smart about that they have like a strong social media following. Like a lot of people, or a lot of shows like SNL, for example, they don't actually put a whole lot of their like content online, where at least maybe here in Canada, like it's harder to get. But Baroness fans, like I felt like it was like circulating quite a bit there for a long time.
Yeah.
Like the rape test episode. I mean, sorry, trigger warning, but the little skit they did about like the piling, like kits piling up, and like a lady's trying to call in, and they're like playing like Jenga with them and stuff like that.
Oh
they're like
God.
trying to pass that. Like it's so hilarious and so like awful at the same time. Yeah. You know? Yeah.
The land acknowledgement one was really popular too.
Oh yeah. When she's like, we should go. Like,
I think it's very funny. And honestly, like, I feel like I watch more Baroness von Sketch than I ever did Kids in the Hall, but I also understand that Kids in the Hall is just like one of those, like some people would revere it as their favorite Canadian TV show ever. Like there's that's a bigger fan base, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yes. Yeah.
So
and it's stood the test of time. Yeah. It's been around like a long time, like 30 years. Yeah.
Where is this group leaning? And I actually, for the people who have seen like the full season of the new season of Kids in the Hall, apparently it's still very funny. I know Catherine watched half of it asleep, but
it's still a little bit like, it's a little old guy humor. Like sometimes when you watch it, like they make fun of like wokeness, you know what I mean? A little bit. But I'm like, yeah, that's a little bit of like old guy humor. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah.
Little boomer.
Like there's this one skit where like someone's wearing clogs and they're like, that's cultural appropriation, you know, and this whole thing. And then someone's wearing clown shoes and they're like, are you a clown? Like you shouldn't be, you know what I mean? Like it's a bit like, that's a little boomer humor, but like, that's all right. Oh no, I nominated it. Shit. No, it's fantastic.
Okay.
That was the only,
that was the only one for now. Also, I think the show, this has been bothering me ever since you were talking about, well, I was talking about, but you were talking about another kids show. I think you were talking about Nickelodeon Guts. Is that the other one for the game show with Goo in it?
Yeah. It was a Nickelodeon show.
Double Dare, isn't it?
Is it Double Dare? Okay.
There's a lot of shows with Goo. Like it was
Slime Time Live. Yeah, they would
slime. That's what it was.
Okay, slime is different than Goo. How?
Is it?
The viscosity is different. Okay.
What is more viscous? Goo.
Goo.
Yeah.
Let's ask the Punisher. Punisher? I don't know. He's still crying. Okay, so we have Schitt's Creek, Trailer Park Boys, Degrassi, 1, 2, 3, 4, Kids in the Hall, Dragon's Den, and Street Sense. I think that's pretty good. The only one I would sort of maybe fight for would have been maybe Reboot, in the sense that it would have been nice to have an animated show on this list.
Oh, yeah.
Because there's a lot of great...
Well, Paw Patrol is animated too.
Versus Reboot?
Okay, fine.
That's the only thing, is there's a lot of good Canadian animated shows out there. And,
yes, yeah.
And us dummies did Reboot, an old show, and Paw Patrol, a children's show.
Yeah, like
I don't know.
Animated series fan will like just shake their head at that list. Like
exactly.
Someone who
I'm
knows
sure.
Canadian animation.
Sure.
Like,
yeah.
But I feel okay about it because like I chose reboot because I'm very close to it, but you know, I'm almost positive there's better animated shows than reboot at this time. You know what I mean? So as long as we acknowledge it, then I can safely move on.
Acknowledged.
Great.
Sure. Yeah.
I'm going to say the list one last time, the ones that are starred, and we're going to do locks. So the locks have to be unanimous, and if we all lock it in, it's likely going to make our top 5, and if we don't lock it, we'll just discuss it a little further. Sound good?
Sounds
Yeah.
good.
Okay, so Schitt's Creek, lock or no lock?
Lock.
Lock.
And
Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
Great.
I think we all agree on that one. Yeah.
Definitely.
Uh-oh, lock or no lock? I mean, I would have.
I don't know.
Catherine, don't say that too loud. Okay, all right. He heard us. Damn it.
Sorry, buddy. I'm sorry. Sorry. Oh, sorry.
We're just playing with his emotions today.
Uh-oh.
And I wonder how Wink Yahoo feels about this, Alli, but he's probably doing fine, right?
I'm sure. He's hosting something for sure.
Yeah. Trailer Park Boys, lock or no lock? I mean, it's tough. I understand why it would be there, and I nominated it, but I just not a mega fan like other people are.
Same.
I was, but then I moved past it. And I haven't watched it in a long time, but like I saw them live, you know, like I was into it for a little while, but
You know what it is? I think it is that it reminds me of Office people or the people who are the super fandoms of the specific sitcom that like
Yeah.
drove me away from it eventually, you know?
they were
Yeah.
annoying. They were annoying.
And,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
I like The Office just fine, but there's people who just base their entire personality around a show.
Yes.
And Trailer
Yeah.
Park Boy people are definitely like that. And
Yeah.
you know when you're around people and all they do is quote a show that you don't know and you're just trying to have a regular conversation?
You're like, I don't, yeah.
Or they get mad at you because you misquote it. You're like, okay, relax. Like, Jesus.
All right, we're cutting it.
Yeah.
Acknowledged as well, I think.
Oh, yeah. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
It just, I think it like had its time and it was a phenomenon, but yeah.
And I had a good time watching it. I definitely laughed, and I
Oh, yeah.
appreciate
Oh, yeah.
it on many, many levels, especially as a Canadian TV show. It's just, I don't know if it belongs on this list. But
Yeah.
I feel like as someone who's not watched the show but has heard so much about it, and as someone who doesn't want Drake to come after us, I feel like Degrassi is probably going to be a lot.
Lock! Yes!
Lock. Lock and
Lock.
loaded.
Yeah.
You hear that,
Locked
Drake?
and loaded. Yeah.
Kids in the Hall we kind of talked about, but I do think we should have a sketch show on here. It's
Yeah,
Kids
so
in the
for
Hall
me-
or Baroness.
For me, I would like if it's a sketch comedy, like I would lock Kids in the Hall. Like it's
I would
just,
too.
It's
Yeah.
Okay, let's do
been
that.
around longer. It's
Yeah.
like it's
Yeah.
infamous, kind of. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. And the last two are Alli's. We have Dragon's Den and Street Sense. Is any of those you want to
Street
lock?
sense. Street sense.
Street
yeah.
sense.
Really?
Yeah, I agree.
I
Yeah.
could see. I was going to say I see the argument for Dragon's Den on this, but I never heard of Street Sense up until today.
Oh, well, just trust our passion. Just
Yeah.
believe us. Yeah.
Go follow them on TikTok and become
Yeah.
a fan.
It had a few seasons and now it's continued on TikTok, where Dragon's Den is literally still going.
Yeah, it's
It's
true.
not important.
I won't lock it yet, but this is interesting. Only having 3 people here instead of a 4th.
You can team up. You can team up a bit more. Yeah.
Alliances.
Because you know how on like a regular episode, you can be in a deadlock and then you have to argue until someone like gets whittled down and be like, fine, you
Yeah.
fucking win. Here it's just
Yeah.
like, oh, Street Sense. Shit, I don't like. How am I supposed to argue for the
You
other
just
one?
have to, yeah, exactly. Like majority rules. Like,
Yeah, wow, this is a strange feeling. Maybe we don't do any more 3-person episodes.
maybe what it'll be, it might have to be like Axe coming in. He could be like a tie, or if he is at this point,
Yeah.
I don't know. Could be a tiebreaker if we have it. Yeah.
That's true.
I think he's still striking the stage. He's been
Yes.
striking it for 4
Yeah.
hours. I don't
Poor
know.
guy.
There's nothing left, Axe. Come home.
Pulling up the floorboards. Like, what? Yeah.
Taking down the entire building. No hacks.
Yeah.
Okay, so our locks are Schitt's Creek, Degrassi, and Kids in the Hall. We didn't lock the other Dragon's Den or Street Sense yet, but you know, I see where they're.
I locked it, but I
I-
guess fine.
Really, we just need to have 2 on this list, and let's just see. We have 2 out of the 3, okay, that we have starred. So we have Uh-Oh starred, we have Dragon's Den starred, and Street Sense starred. So really, in reality, both Dragon's Den and Street Sense can make the list. Or
I think we should put Uh-Oh in.
Uh-Oh. Yeah.
Yeah, I actually didn't watch much of it. Like, I know what you're talking about. I saw it on YTV. good
Was
old
it the goo?
YTV. But it kind of grossed me out. No, I just didn't really watch it a whole lot. Yeah, I think it's maybe another Street Sense kind of thing where you two are passionate about it, and I'm like,
see, when there's one where the Punisher and you land on the wheel, like that's what happens. You spin a wheel and you can either get points or you play a game or whatever it is, or if you land on the thing that says you get put into a tube, like kind of like a plastic
tube.
Yeah, like a plastic tube area, like a big tube area where you can't.
It's not a tube. It's not a tube.
What were you at, like a containment area?
It's a container.
That's so much better. Where you can't escape, where this grown man in this outfit will say a pun at you, like, I'll put some goo on these fools. And that's as highbrow or lowbrow as it gets. That's the creativity we got here. And I think it's fantastic for it. We don't have shows like that anymore. Where's the kids' game shows that we're missing?
That was the OG. I feel like it spawned so many other shows like that. It was the original. Unless they stole it from Nickelodeon. But it felt like the original to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a chicken and the egg scenario. I don't know which one came first.
I know.
Yeah. I like and I like Street Sense, but I also could see Dragon's Den. I feel like some people would be like, what is Street Sense? What is Put the obvious thing on there.
Dragon's Den is more like it's and the way that it's launched pretty huge products and stuff. It is quite influential. I haven't watched a whole lot of it, but even I've
heard of it.
Well, I get that.
Do you want me to name the products? I looked up some of the products.
Yeah. Look it up.
I'd be curious.
Okay, so Endy was obviously on that because that's that was the second ones. Sax, which is
the underwear.
Yeah. So that was
I'm wearing that right
now.
Big
one. No way.
Thank you, Dragon's Den.
You could thank Arlene personally for that. The Oh My God clusters. Have you had them? Chocolate clusters. It's OMG.
I've heard of them.
Okay.
I think
that sounds.
I've heard of them. Yeah, I think you can get them at Costco or something.
That's it. They're in any convenience store, basically. There's holy crap, the world's most amazing breakfast cereal. I've never heard of it.
I love that. Yes, that's Dragon's Den.
There you go. That's Dragon's Den.
It's chia seeds and stuff. It's a good little mix. Yeah, it clears you out. It's great. Yeah.
I have conflicting feelings about Dragon's Den in the way that it's it's great that they give the opportunity to startups and people with ideas to present things to people with money. And the other thing is it's just a weird capitalist show as well, which is
it's
just
so that's why I lean towards Street Sense, because Street Sense is is post-consumer. It's a very unique way of looking at capitalism and very anti-exploitation and actually getting more out of your money and helping people be finance and it was targeted at young kids and encouraging them to be wise with their money and it's a very
you're winning me over on this because Dragon's Den, as much as I love these products and I'm wearing the underwear right now.
It's bad. It's bad. I know it's bad.
You gotta suck the dragon's dick in Dragon's Den, you know?
Oh my.
You do though, it's true.
Yes, you do.
It's true.
They don't show that part on the show, but
that's the behind the scenes.
Oh my god.
Let's lock in Street Sense. Lock in Street Sense.
Yeah. Excellent.
That is 4. And so there is room for Dragon's Den if we want, or if we want to just throw a bone to the animated community. I can see a case for reboot.
Reboot? Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I'd be okay with reboot.
I would too.
I think that's our middle ground probably, right? Because we're not going to come to a full consensus on. Dragon's Den, it's cool, but feels kind of weird too. Where at least reboot can represent this entire platform. Yeah.
Maybe reboot kind of put Canadian animation on the map, and a lot of cool stuff kind of came after reboot. You know what I mean?
Except for the reboot. That was not cool.
But that was the first time. Well, maybe not the first time, but that was a moment where it was Canadian animation can be a thing. It can. There are some. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I like the idea.
From what I understand about it.
I like the idea of celebrating Canadian animation. So let's do that.
Yeah.
Let's do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like
Sweet.
So let's see. Schitt's Creek, Reboot, Degrassi, Kids in the Hall, and Street Sense is 5 of them.
What a this. This is beautiful.
I love it too. I love. We don't even need Axe. Axe, if you're listening, don't even join the call, which is weird because he'd have to listen to this episode after the fact.
And then come back in time and join the call.
You know what? I'm going to assume he was a time traveler in the play that he's in.
Definitely. I'm sure that it's basically the Hitchhiker's Galaxy time. What's that one?
Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
That's it. It's that.
Galaxy's Hitchhiker Guide. Yeah. Okay, I'll say it one more time and then we'll make our 5. Schitt's Creek reboot, Degrassi, Kids in the Hall, and Street Sense. What's number 5?
I would be comfortable putting Reboot at 5 because it was one that we kind of had to like toss in there.
It kind of,
I think
Reboot got lucky. You know what I mean? Like,
it was a tiebreaker. Reboot was a tiebreaker.
It's true, exactly.
But it forever changed me. So
we have to.
It belongs on this list. Number 4, I don't know because I haven't seen Street Sense. So I would have said Street Sense. But
I'd be comfortable putting, because it also, like, you're kind of having to trust me and Alli on this one.
I think 4 is an appropriate spot.
Yeah. I think that makes sense. But know that, like, you have some Googling to do after this. You go watch some clips.
That's
you
what I'm afraid of.
Smart.
And I'm going to watch it and I'm like, this isn't street smart at all. Like, we'll see.
I take it back. Yeah.
I like the conceit of it. Like, I think it's a cool idea of a show.
Yeah.
Number 3, we have either Schitt's Creek, Degrassi, or Kids in the Hall. I feel like to me, it's Kids in the Hall.
Kids in the Hall, yeah. I think our top 2 we need to argue over is Degrassi and Schitt's Creek. Or will it be an argument? I don't know. We'll see.
I don't know. I've never seen Degrassi, so this might be one of those things where you two are just like, Degrassi, yeah, and I have to fold. But I feel like Schitt's Creek to me really, like you said, Catherine, launched the careers or further push the careers.
I was about to say Eugene Levy and Catherine O'Hara were previously launched.
Yeah, but now they're even bigger. And
that's true.
I feel like
there's a whole generation of kids who are like, that's the mom from Home Alone, you know?
Yeah.
And if you ever go to Disney World in Epcot, they used to have Martin Short as the voice of like presenting Canada. There's like this like 20-minute theater production.
Oh my God.
It's just like, it's a very cheesy thing of like a bunch of B-roll of like the landscapes of Canada and talking about the moose here. And like,
I don't think I went to Canada when I went to Epcot.
Oh, I did.
Boring.
I did because I'm like, I wonder how Epcot's going to handle Canada, and they make us look super lame.
Of course.
Eugene Levy and Catherine O'Hara are the narrators now for that. So like,
there we go.
I would go just for that. Yeah. I would go
put us on the map.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I say that because like I feel like their star has risen even further up, and like definitely Dan Levy, his career, Annie Murphy, like their careers have just launched for that, and like the awards and recognition this show got was pretty huge.
Well, I was just going to say, I think it's the only one on the list that has won an Emmy, unless Kids in the Hall has. I don't think so. I think it's the only one on the list that has actually like won an Emmy, if not multiple.
Yeah.
So like, but my only thing about Degrassi is that like, I feel like it like formed a generation of kids in Canada. It's been around for like 30 years.
I know.
And it's even like kind of intergenerational because it went from like Spike to Spike's daughter. Emma.
Yeah.
Did I say Emma? Yeah.
Emma, yeah.
You know what I mean? So
I don't know
if
what
we're
you
talking,
mean.
Alli does.
I know.
But if we're talking, like, I think we can,
Okay, here's my question to you two. Maybe this isn't fair, but what would you rather watch right now on the television? Schitt's Creek or Degrassi?
Oh, I'd be curious to watch Degrassi because it's been a while since I've watched Degrassi. Whereas
it depends what season of Degrassi.
Yeah, that's true. And which like iteration.
Yeah.
Probably Schitt's Creek, to be honest.
Yeah, I know.
Like I've watched it through like twice. So yeah.
Because Schitt's Creek to me, like it's one of those shows that also someone could definitely argue this, but to me, it doesn't really have a bad season of the show. People may argue the first season is a little slower, but like it just keeps going.
It's pretty solid.
And one of the storylines wrap up so good.
Short too. Yeah, they didn't let it go too long. They didn't pull like a Friends where you're like that's like 4 seasons too long. You know what I mean? Like I think they only did 6 seasons, 5 or 6.
There's nothing I respect more in a TV show where it's like at its top of its game, winning tons of awards, and then they're like, "This is done. The storyline is done."
Yeah,
you know? And they did
respect.
that.
Yeah.
I guess I would lean Schitt's Creek, but it's only because I
Yeah.
haven't seen Degrassi. So what are you thinking?
I think Degrassi is a solid second, but I get what you're saying. Like, it also like it's very popular in like the States, and like it's like all over the world. Whereas Degrassi did kind of cross border, but not quite in the way that Schitt's Creek did. Yeah.
How would Drake feel about this list if he was watching this right now?
I think he would even like understand. He'd be like, "Yeah, Schitt's Creek, Schitt's Creek."
Yeah.
You know, like,
He'd be like, it'd be number one if they didn't kill me. Did they kill him?
He didn't
That's
die.
why he was in a wheelchair. Yeah, he was just
I really don't know.
Paraplegic. Yeah,
I don't.
Yeah, so like they had in the fourth season, they had a kid like who basically like shot kids in the school because he was bullied. And
oh my God.
Oh yeah. See,
Drake's character Jimmy was one of them, but his character actually didn't. Like, it was his friend who said that he did something to this particular guy. So, like, he actually wasn't supposed to be shot. It was supposed to be, should have been someone else who did the thing to him that, like, instigated it, basically. So, it was, like, a wrongdoing also, which is kind of
heavy. Wow.
Yeah. I know. It's very intense. Honestly, the episode's, like, intense and sad. And
there were some intense episodes of Degrassi, for sure.
Yeah.
But it sounds like there were some stinker episodes.
Well, yes.
Yeah, it was still the 80s. Like,
yeah, that's it. They've killed like 8 characters in their entire. Like, they've killed so many kids. It's so bad. I know, those poor kids. And, like everything, any kind of death you can imagine, they've gone through.
Every single one. Oh my God.
Vending machine? No.
I do hear a baby a fussin', so I think we can wrap, and I think we can say like,
yeah, okay. Let me just
Schitt's Creek 1. Yeah, okay.
Let's do it. Yeah. In the interest of baby, number 5, Reboot. Number 4, Street Sense. Number 3, Kids in the Hall. Number 2, Degrassi, and number 1, Schitt's Creek. Congratulations,
I'm
Schitt's
happy
Creek.
with that. That's great.
Yeah, me too.
I'm
That's a good
happy
list.
I'm happy too. And what we're gonna do,
agree.
because we're on Baby Watch, Catherine, you have any other ones that you just want to rapid fire for your honorable mentions?
I have a bunch. I love Canadian TV, so like this was kind of hard for me. So you've got some old school ones. So I was talking to my mom about it, and my mom was like, "You gotta nominate Beachcombers." She doesn't actually talk like that, but Beachcombers. It's like it's essentially like of our parents' generation, like one of the like most popular TV show like of the like 70s, and it's filmed here in BC on the Sunshine Coast, which is a beautiful part of BC. I haven't watched a whole lot of it, but my mom was like, "Just say Beachcombers," and I'm like, "Okay." And then like if you guys, so like kids TV show, there's like Mr. Jessup, Elephant Show, Pokeroo, like all that kind of like beautiful stuff. Yeah, Pokeroo. Yeah, exactly.
My friend's dad played Pokeroo for a little while.
What?
Yeah.
What?
That is cool.
That is a claim to fame.
I think it is, but it's also like, I don't think he was very happy playing Pokeroo because you just wear a suit and you don't get to talk very much.
Yeah, that's fair.
You just kind of go,
yeah.
And did you guys ever watch Slings and Arrows? It's essentially a TV show. Oh, as theater people, you should watch it. It's a parody of like the Shaw Festival. It's all about like a theater, like a Shakespeare theater festival in like a small Canadian town. It's starring one of the guys from Kids in the Hall, I forget which one, and Paul Gross, and the one who just won an Oscar. She's in it. Oh my gosh, why am I blanking on her name? Sarah Polley. Sarah Polley's in it, or Polly is in it, and Rachel McAdams. That's what she got her start on.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really interesting. Like I was on Netflix at one point, like years ago. It might still be there. Look it up. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
Especially if you know Canadian theater. It's like, whoa, it's really funny. And then you've got things like This Hour Has 22 Minutes, Royal Canadian Air Farce. Like, when we're talking sketch comedy, it's older school. Again, my parents love those kind of shows. We kind of got to say. And my last one that I wanted to mention was maybe because I am the target audience, and you guys might not have watched it. But it's called Workin' Moms. Mm-hmm. It's with
very popular.
It's like the daughter of the guy who wrote Ghostbusters. What's his name? Ivan Reitman.
Yes.
Ivan Reitman.
Yes,
Thank you.
That's it.
Catherine Reitman. It's his daughter. It's like her show. And it takes place in Toronto, and it's hilarious. And Jan Arden makes a cool cameo. It's a great show.
I think some Toronto improvisers is also in Working Moms.
They're in that. Yeah.
And Sarah McVie, who is in a bunch of GCTC shows as well, is in it. And she's hilarious. And it's fantastic. Yeah.
That's very cool. Thank you,
Yeah.
Catherine. Alli, what other ones do you want to rapid fire for me?
Yeah, these were like YTV shows. I was big into the YTV Radioactive.
Hell
I don't know if you guys
yes.
watched
Yes.
it. Yeah, such a good
love
show.
that show.
Yeah, and we've had people at the GCTC too who were on Radioactive. Yeah, yeah.
Get out of here. That's
Yeah.
insane.
I
That's
know.
one that it's also like a comic book, right? He's also like,
Yeah.
yeah. That
Yeah,
one's good.
exactly. Yeah, such a good show. Did you watch System Crash at all? Did you guys watch that?
Yes.
Such a
I've
good
heard
show.
it,
That's
but
like the
yeah.
OG kids like sketch show. They they did like sketch comedy, but just like in a high school. I thought it was the funniest thing when I was a kid. The Naughty Show, I watched that too when I was a kid. Timothy Goes to School. I was a big fan of that show. Another TVO show. Those were my 4 that I loved.
All the kids shows. I love it.
Basically.
I have a few crossovers, which is why I didn't nominate them, like American Canadian, which would be like Clone High and like even Arthur.
Yeah.
I would have said Arthur, but it is.
Arthur.
Yeah.
It's like it
Yeah.
towed the line too much. It's like shit.
Yeah.
I can't. Shout out to the aardvark though. Undergrads, like I think the same thing. But Zaboomafoo was one.
Zaboomafoo! Yes.
Yeah.
Would be
The
good.
Kratz brothers, the Kratz creatures. Yeah.
Beast Wars for anyone who loved that. The Transformers.
yeah.
Inspector Gadget was also
Yes.
Canadian.
He's Canadian? I did not know that. Inspector Gadget.
Yeah. Anyways, Andrew Fung in Kim's Convenience made another show called Run the Burbs. I think it's great.
I've heard that's good. I've heard that's good.
An episode or two, but I really like him, so I always hope for the best for him. Tall Boys was really popular. Another sketch
Oh, that's
show
so
in
good.
Toronto. Very funny.
Yeah.
Other ones that people loved when I was in like grade 7 and 8 was Kenny versus Spenny. And like
Oh my God.
people
yeah.
love that show. And
Yeah.
I think they're back as well.
Yeah, they
they're-
just came to the Algonquin Theater because I work there now. They were there like 2 weeks ago.
Oh, fantastic. There you go.
Yeah.
I love that. People loved, and I never watched this, but this was on a lot of people's lists, was Murdoch Mysteries.
That was another one.
Oh,
my
right.
my
That
mom
one's
was
big.
like, you gotta say Murdoch Mysteries.
Yeah,
too.
this
And I
feels
was
like a
no, I
boomer
don't,
show.
But okay. Yeah, it's a bit of a boomer show. My
Yeah.
uncle loves it. Yeah, for
And
sure.
the
Yeah.
show that I was actually the other one was Transplant. That's like on Crave. I say it as shout out because people like it, and I also knew the guy, and I'm trying to know as many famous people as I can without actually being in a thing. And the last one that Laura really liked and a friend, Samantha Leggett, is Anne with an E, because how do we talk about Canadian TV shows without
yes.
Anne of Green
True.
Gables, right?
That's
And then,
it.
then you also have Road to Avonlea, which
Yes,
is the 90s
I love that
version.
one.
Yes,
Ah.
also with Sarah Polley.
What?
She is amazing. Yeah, as like
Crazy.
she's like 12 in it or something.
Oh my
yeah.
gosh.
That's crazy. Yeah, that show apparently got canceled, but apparently the people who loved it really loved it. So
Yes.
she'll
yeah.
come back. She always comes
Yeah,
back.
she does.
She's always reincarnated.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like, when is Anne coming back? Very soon.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
There'll be another along shortly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
Yeah, yeah.
Like a GO train. Another will be along shortly.
It all comes. You really brought that
Right?
together.
Yeah.
Train 48. Beautiful dramaturgy of this
Beautiful.
episode.
Beautiful. Catherine, it's been so long since you've been on here. So happy to have you here. Thank you for taking time
Thanks for
out of your
having me
busy
back.
mom life to be here on today.
My pleasure. My pleasure. It's nice to like have some time talking to adults and stuff. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was half expecting you to talk to us like children. Be like,
Put
oh,
that down.
tongue,
Ah,
Ali,
tongue.
hello, hello.
Good job.
Yeah, very condescending. Catherine, stop talking to us like that. Do you have anything to plug for the people at home?
Oh, nothing in particular. You know, just like get out and do things and see people and experience local art. I don't know.
Yeah, support
If you're
the arts.
if you're
Love
in
it.
Vancouver, I work for Théâtre Le 16e. If you're interested in like French theater, that's cool.
That's cool.
They do have English subtitles or
Nice.
surtitles. Yeah, that's cool.
Love it.
You know.
I like that. Well,
Very cool.
thank you, Catherine. Alli, what do you want to plug for the people at home?
Well, you can check out my website, alliharris.ca. I put all my updates up there. I'm going to be in the Company of Fools tour this summer.
That's awesome.
Fun,
Hell yeah.
sweet.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So I'll be playing music live to accompany. Don't have to memorize any Shakespeare just to get to join them and play some music. So I'm very excited.
That's so cool. And are you still doing some Twitch stuff as well?
I am. Yeah. I'm Alli Harris Music on Twitch. So I do improvised music and some gaming stuff.
Oh, fun.
Amazing. Well, thank you,
Yeah.
Alli. Thank you for being here. I can't wait. And this is an announcement for everyone. Just watch out for Alli and me in Good Burger 2 any minute now.
That's right.
It's going to be, the trailer's going to drop.
Pre-production, we're really excited.
Keenan and Kel were very busy, so Alli and I are doing it.
So obviously we had to fill in,
Catherine has no idea about this Good Burger
Nope,
stuff.
I'm just smiling, like, cool. I'll look it up.
Again, only like 10 people in the world know Good Burger.
It's true.
But,
Yeah.
hey, enough that they got a sequel like many years later. So
Exactly.
there you go.
Yeah.
For myself, you can find the rest of the shows in the Pod Cavern at www.podcavern.com. Check out all the shows there. And that's it for today's episode. Axe, do you have anything to plug?
Oh, yep. I was about to do an Axe impression, but I was like, let's stop there.
Yeah, eh?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Good one. Good list, guys.
He's actually joined the call, everyone, but he's so deep in character still that he's going to break out into a monologue, and we don't have time. Sorry, Axe. Sorry, this is your
Sorry,
time.
Axe.
Sorry, buddy. Sorry. See you guys next time. Thank you for listening. Bye, everyone.